Hello there, Seth Holocron here with another Donger deck discussion, and I hope you guys are keeping as well as I am in these, well, maybe second wave of COVID time. But regardless of all the nonsense that we've got in the world, there are new decks to be made and new games of Runeterra to be played. So let's have a look at the deck we're going to be discussing today, which is involving my favourite champion from Targon, which is Leona, and, well, Lux. Let's do Leona Lux. Because I think the synergies between Leona and Lux are really, really good. And if you build this right, you can have a lot of fun with the two ladies. So let's go through the deck, because I'm pretty much now putting Leona with the entire Solari process the entire time. The best spells in the game, in my opinion, and then spells for Lux to bring out her lovely fleeting shot, or her final spark, which is this, which deals 40 an enemy, which has also got overwhelm. So say it's only got 2 health left, it will do 2 to the enemy nexus as well. So you see it getting pulled out and put away, which is quite nice, really. We've 15 Demacia, because we have to have Demacia cards. You know, we have to have Demacia cards. And 25 Targon, which is quite a lot. But, you know, if we look in here, we've got 20 units and 20 spells, a complete split, the perfect deck between units and spells in the 6 champions. So here we go, and I'm going to do it slightly different, because if you've watched any of the Donger deck discussions, you know, we do say very similar things if we're using the same regions and stuff. So I'm going to do it as packages. So the first thing is, if we're using lovely Leona, you need to activate Daybreak 4 times. And the best way to do it in an ideal world would be Solari Soldier, into Solari Shield Breaker, into Solari Priestess, into Leona. And then if you get the next one down, which is Raven, then he's creating more Daybreak cards, which means you can activate everything and off you go, and things are fantastic. So the Soldier coming out as a 3/3, that coming out as a 3/6, that getting you a Celestial card. They can do 4 and 1, obliterate an enemy, bring you out the Traveler, bring out the Lifesteal and Elusive. There's so many great cards that the Solari Priestess gives you, even though her stats are rubbish. So you can't really run, in my opinion, Leona without running the Solari package. So that's that in a nutshell. Secondly, though, you've got to look at things that make sense in a deck. And when I mean make sense in a deck, I mean actually take your time if you build decks, instead of just going to Mobalytics and stealing them. Part of this game's charm to me is actually making decks, or finding a deck and making it a heck of a lot better for how you play. That's how games, especially CCGs, exist doing. We need to be able to make decks better. I've made a ton of decks. I know people have went with them and then improved them. People in my Discord have taken my decks and improved them, and now those decks are doing really, really well on ladder, and I am so delighted that my initial thought concept, like the Jack the Winner deck, like the Diana Nocturne deck, like Dragons, all that sort of stuff, have now been implemented across, and we're seeing like ASOL ramp not being quite as big, etc., etc., etc. But the idea is take a deck and then tweak it. Don't just play it and go, that's rubbish. If it's not rubbish, ask yourself, why is it rubbish? Why aren't you winning? Are you playing it right? Is it a curve deck? Is it a control deck? You know, if you're playing a control deck as an aggro deck, you're playing it wrong. If you're playing an aggro deck like a combo deck, you're playing it wrong. So find out what the deck does, play around with it, and then tinker it so it actually works for you. So with that in mind, I've added a couple of spells in here that I think are really good. Single combat is in every Demacia deck. That's a 3 of. 3 guiding touches to heal an ally or your Nexus 2. And normally, I'm healing my allies. I don't really, if I've got Leona down or Raven down, I don't want them dead. I want to be able to constantly daybreak to stun things, so my entire units go out across the board, which is kind of class. And Pale Cascade, given the ally 2-1 this round, if you play the second, you then draw a card. Wonderful. But again, we're on the more daybreak side of things, so I only made this a 2 so I could make Bastion and put Bastion in, because there's so many spells flying around the Runeterra universe at the minute that somebody wants to drain the final 3 from my Leona. Nope. Thank you very much. Burst speed. I put a spell shield onto that, and that is not going to happen. But I don't want to be hand clogged with things that only react when spells are going off. That's why it's not 1, and that's why it's not 3. I don't want my handful of 3 bastions doing nothing out of my hand of 5. I want 1 at a time, which is why I reduce the chances of getting it, similarly with Pale Cascade, by going 2 each. Obviously, we've talked about Solari Princess's Shield Bearer and the Soldier giving fantastic synergy with Leona, because once she is leveled, as we all know, it's every time you daybreak, she is stunning the strongest enemy. That gets rid of all your Tarics, that gets rid of Aurelian Soul. It gets rid of everything. They just get stunned. They're out of the game for the round. It allows you to board develop, do a few bits more, then attack. And then if they're silly enough to put down a card and you have another Daybreak card, well, then Aurelian Soul is not doing anything. Taric won't be doing anything at all. It doesn't really matter what's going on. You are not doing a single thing. So the Daybreak package, to me, has probably been the better one between Nightfall and Daybreak. That's from my own personal experience and deck building, and the ones that are doing better are the ones with the Daybreak package in it. The Nightfall package is excellent. I have tried in previous videos. You will see that there is a Diana Leona deck called Sisterhood. That's an excellent deck that performs very, very well based on the premise that there are more Nightfall cards in the deck. We go for the Solari package, but we have tons of Nightfall things, so you're always getting your bonuses. But back to this deck. And I have loved this card. I think this card's fantastic. We've got such good units with 3s and 5s and all that sort of stuff to be able to concerted strike and take most enemies off the board. So yes, you can take out a Braum with like 2 units. You can take out a Braum with 2 Solari Shield Bearers. Straight away. Goodbye. Before he even begins to level up, just take him clean out of the game. You can do that on turn 5, because it is 5 mana to do that. Now, far better if they have tapped out of mana so that they can't spell shield himself or grant him +3/+3 or elixir something up to give him an extra couple of health. So if you were doing something like that, overkilling with your biggest power units is probably the better idea to try and get them off the board. That's the reason why you're playing this fantastic spell in the first instance. But you do got to remember that we are running units that only have like 2 health, and then, you know, the Shield Bearer goes back to 2 health, and the Soldier goes back to 2 health. So some things will die, which means that the 2 Radiant Guardians that we've got in here, the delicious ladies that come down with lifesteal and tough if an ally died this round. I wanted to run 3 and decided not to, because I had 3 in, and then added a random card at the end that hasn't really been seen outside of Fiora decks, but we'll get to there later on. So this is fantastic. Keeps your Nexus bouncing. It's got tough. It's got lifesteal. Only drop it without this in the very rare things where you've got nothing in hand, no other unit. It's still a 5/5. It's still solid. If it keeps you in the game, drop the damn card. Don't be trying to do something silly and take, say, 6 damage to the face that would put you down to like 2 or 3. Because if you've got nothing there, you've got no unit 2 die. So then you're waiting on card draw. If you have no units in hand, just get it onto the board. It's not that bad a thing to come out with because we have other cards that can often help with this as well. Ravon is just superb. If you can get 2 of these guys out, so it's always Daybreak for us, that's almost like a predestined winner. He will bring out everything. He will bring out. Let's show you some of the cards. He can bring out Morning Light. He can bring out Sun Guardian. He can bring out Sunburst. He can bring out a ton of wonderful cards. Zenith Blade, for instance. You can do an awful lot of stuff with what he's got. And the fact that if you then had a leveled up Leona will then, do a stun. But if you drop down a second one, you're now stunning 3 units, which is just the mana efficiency of dropping these 5 costs are fantastic. And if you kind of see, we are quite full in the 5 drop list. So we've got the Radiance, we've got Concerted Strike, but we're running 3 of these, and then things like Bastion and Single Combat and all that sort of stuff. So you don't have to be costing just the 6s for Lux, because we've also got Star Shaping. And this is easily my favourite card that's a spell in the game. You not only get a Celestial that costs 7 or more, so it's going to be fantastic, really fantastic, game-ending fantastic. You can fill it up with Celestials. You can do so much. Dragons, elusives, things with Overwhelm, things with Fury. You get one of those, and then you either heal an ally or your Nexus 5. For 5 mana, card draw, heal, in my opinion, best card in the game. And I just love that art. Look at this. Look. It's just great. It's just great. And a bloody brilliant spell to drop at any time. But the reason I've put her with Lux is because we are going to be doing a lot of spells. With 20 spells in a deck, we are going to be doing quite a lot of damage with Final Sparks. And don't forget that this lady comes down with her blonde hair and her blonde box barrier the round that she's on. She's fantastic to attack with, because literally, unless they spell hit her, she isn't dying that round. And then from the rounds after that, just try and get as many 6-cost spells or more out there. But then in saying that, we could do a Concerted Strike and a Guiding Touch, and you get your fantastic Final Spark to kill off a unit. No Lux deck is complete without 3 Remembrance. Costs 1 less for each ally that died this round, which can be really handy. Because, say for instance, we've dropped a Bastion to keep her alive, but 3 other people have died. 3 and 3 is 6. And you get this and the Final Strike. Please. This deck it just plays itself almost. But it's not that easy. I'm making it sound easy. It is not an easy deck to play. You've got to get everything in the right order for you to get the maximum return from your mana spend. So you will get a random 5-cost follower from Demacia, which, again, in other videos, I'm not going to spend too much longer on it. But now, not only can we get the Cavalry and the Lancer, we can get a Screeching Dragger with Challenger and Fury, Radiant Guardians, and the Scout. There's so many cards, so many good cards for 5 mana from Demacia. But the final card is this. We're going to be drawing into Celestials. We are going to be drawing into a whole ton of things. And to be able to Judgment against decks that aren't running Ionia, really, you want the truth. Or Shadow Isles with Vengeance. or P&Z, but mainly by the stage that you can play this, to wipe out the entire board with a big hitting unit on your side of the table. That's why we are running one of these. It's like our Ruination, except we get to keep our units. So if they, especially if they have tapped under 3 or less mana, they can't do anything to you. They're not going to be able to do anything to the guy that you need to be swinging out and hitting stuff. So for instance, that will be hitting for 5, that's hitting for 5. You can get things like Sun Guardian, when if you drop it down, he becomes an 8. That'll take off nearly everything in the game. You know, that will get rid of the Infinite Mind Splitter. This card is still a flex. I could put one of these in, but I like that for the sneak. For the sneaky play that they're not actually going to be expecting. They're not going to be expecting a Draven-esque Fiora-led, oh my god, I've just been judgmented. And that's what I like about this deck, and it's won me a couple of games as well. So, in the later game, when you get a decent-sized power unit, that is the card you want in hand. Hold it up, and then wait until everybody throws things out. Throw out your big unit, and throw out Judgment. And that is pretty much how you can win the entire game by just putting up one dragon, like the Screeching Dragon, that with Fury will go up 1-1 for each time it's hit something. So it'll be hitting for 5s if you take your trades properly. You can build the Screeching Dragon if you get the Screeching Dragon, but you still have Radiance, you still have Ravens, you still have Leona. You can have Leona permanently bumped again by getting stuff from Raven. There's enough little tricks in here that still lets you put out 6 months of damage to level up Lux. I think this deck is just a real fun deck to play. So the deck code is in the pinned comments. I'm taking it now. And so is all the links to our social medias, which we hope you not only look and read and participate in and join in the fun at the Dongers of Runeterra. My name's Sith Holocron. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you like our gear. And until the next time, thanks for watching. Dongers out.